What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit out of the ordinary. We're going to be reviewing Mudwater's latest product. For those of you who know, I love Mudwater. They're Masala chai. It's this coffee replacement, and I, over on another video, walked you guys through how you can make this for so much cheaper than what they sell on their website. It comes out to just over $1 per serving. Through my recipe, you can make it for a lot less. But just saw on their website that Mudwater released their new product, which is your new evening ritual. So it's supposed to be some like best sleep of your life kind of a thing, and more of like a calming effect. It's got no caffeine. I was super intrigued. I mean, I love Mudwater and what I have felt as like some great benefits as opposed to drinking coffee, and was super intrigued, and they sold me on it. So let's see if they convince me of something that I really don't need, or if this is what I'm going to be drinking every night henceforth. So first of all, let's take a look at what's in the box. So when we open it up, we've got your support your local sunset as opposed to sunrise that many of you know come with a Mudwater canister. We've got a nice little info booklet here. I'm assuming some description of what's all in this recipe. We'll dive into this a little bit later. We've also got a mixer. Honestly, these are so great. Like, honestly, a $10 item. And if you're going to try making this yourself, like if we're going to come up with our own recipe, you still need one of these. So I always say just try the trial pack. If you like it, you've got your whisk. It lasted, the first one that I got when I bought my original Mudwater lasted me about a year. Let's just see if anything has changed about it. So you've got your base of your, like the motor of your whisk. It's just got an on-off power button there, and a charger, so USB rechargeable. They send you with 2 of the whisks, so these just fit right on top here. And then when you turn it on, it spins it. Got a replacement one of those, and then we've got a cap. We've got a charger, so this is still, and a third whisk. We've got a USB-C charger cable and a cap. So the cap just fits on like this, and yeah, this one feels a little bit taller than the other one. I don't know if it's here. Feels a little bit longer, but honestly, like a really good quality item and something that I use to like froth my matcha and a lot of other things. So honestly, I'm really glad to have this. And here is the goods. They have coined it quote unquote rest, so Mudwater rest. The key ingredients. Alright, so the key ingredients we've got here are rooibos chai, which is denoted as rooibos tea, ginger, cardamom, black pepper, nutmeg, and cloves. And then we've got some mushrooms, turkey tail, reishi, lusuma. And then we've got some other things, valerian root, passion flower, turmeric, cinnamon, ashwagandha, and chamomile. We're going to learn more about what all those are about. Alright, so then let's jump into the info pack. Let's see what all of these ingredients are about and what's in this little info pack. Alright, so this first page is kind of setting the stage for why they created the rest product. They talk about how sleep is vitally important in contrast to today's hustle culture telling us that you can sleep when you're dead. Nice little picture of the powder, and up next is the how-to of the recipes. So here they outline 3 different ways to make the rest product, which I'll walk through later, but basically they suggest making it black with a little honey or with a sort of iced latte format. Then they tell you how to use the frother. And the next page, I think, is the most interesting piece. It talks about the science of the circadian rhythm and how vitally important morning light and evening sunset are required to keep our body's natural clock synced and functioning. So in particular, they highlight 2 explorers in the 80s that lived in pitch blackness of the Mammoth Cave for a month to find out that without natural sunlight, their circadian rhythms actually slowly drifted away from the 24-hour cycle. Which is pretty neat. So basically they encourage you to subject yourself to some natural sunlight first thing in the morning and appreciate golden hour of sunset to wind yourself down in the evening. So I definitely appreciate the science woven into this one. This next piece gets a little philosophical, encouraging you to be cognizant of your current evening routine and suggesting some pointers of how to improve your wind down at the end of the day. This next piece seems to make more of a plug for Mudwater coffee replacement than rest itself, so quoting some studies and giving evidence why caffeine isn't a great thing to regularly be putting into our bodies. Again, here they're talking about the importance of sleep and how 1 in 3 Americans is chronically sleep deprived, and even one night of bad sleep will crank up this hormone that makes you crave junk food and increase your risk for chronic disease, negatively impacts fertility rates, and then they suggest some tips on getting a better night's sleep, which is cool. Here they make a pitch about their support for medicinal mushroom and psychedelic research. Here they're trying to sling mud pun intended, at their competitors, saying that they verify the DNA of their mushrooms and use the fruiting body, but my beef here is that they aren't transparent about verifying the concentration of beta-glucans, which is the actual active ingredient of mushrooms. They finally revealed exactly where they get their mushrooms from, so I might have to make a trip down to Carlsbad, California to scout it out myself. Then they have a couple subscription fact pages about buying in bulk and subscriptions, and then they get the ingredient list breakdown of what's in Rest and the Mudwater Rise. They actually don't describe too much here, and the list on the tin is actually different than what's included. But for Rest, we have rooibos chai to aid in digestion, turmeric and cinnamon, which are listed as antioxidants, ashwagandha mushroom and chamomile, famed for their calming effects, and turkey tail and reishi mushroom included for their immunity support. So on the next page is the Mudwater lineup, which is less important here, but you can pause and read for yourself if you'd like. And then they make plugs for their overpriced creamer, which is comprised of coconut milk and MCT oil, as well as their sweetener, comprised of coconut palm sugar and Lucima fruit powder, which I'd honestly never heard of before, but it looks like the Lucima fruit powder is in Rest itself. So yeah, anyways, that's a wrap. Nice little info booklet, like really high quality, nice little ad for the Rest package. Alright, so now we're going to try making all of the different recipes that we read about in their booklet. They kind of describe starting with black, moving through adding honey and different creamers and such, just to figure out how you like it. I always encourage people to try this out and not to like give up on Mudwater too quickly, just because it is a little bit of a taste to get used to, but I'm super excited to try it black and then walk you guys through how you can make the other recipes incrementally, so you don't have to make like 4 different cups of this to like really figure out if you like it or not. So yeah, let's get started with the first one. So just to make it black, Mudwater suggests like 6 to 8 ounces of hot water, which is about 180 to 240 milliliters. So I normally make it in a mug, but just to show you guys like the color and what it looks like, I'm going to be making it in a glass jar. So I've just got a glass here with some gratings on the side. You don't have to be super accurate. It's really a preference of like how strong you want it or not, but that's 6 ounces. Let's do 8 ounces since we're going to incrementally be trying it and making it smaller in volume. Okay. So there we have our water. To be honest though, I start with less and add the powder first and then mix it and then add the rest of it, just since it's like not completely soluble and takes a little bit to get mixed in. So I'm gonna open up our canister here and take a look. Ooh, it smells a little funky. I'll give you guys a look here. I don't know how well you can see that, but it looks, I mean, to be honest, it looks pretty similar, just like a little bit lighter. And then Mudwater suggests 1 tablespoon for 8 ounces of water. So I'm gonna measure that off, just here, 1 tablespoon, throw it in here. Ooh. Let's get a zoom in look of that. And mix it up. Alright, now for the moment of truth of what this tastes like. I'm first getting pretty funky smell. I can smell like it's very flowery, catching tones of like, I'm assuming what is the passion flower. I've never really had passion flower tea before, and probably the chamomile that I'm smelling. That's like very light and flowery, but then I'm like catching like this deeper tone of like what Mudwater and like the mushrooms are, so I'm really interested to see how these flavors interact. But here we go, cheers. Whoa. Oh, that is wild. Wow, there's so many flavors that I'm getting hit with right now. Ooh, I don't know if I like this. Okay, so I'm getting hit by like 3 different waves of flavors. I'm getting first hit with like a very flowery, light taste, because I think that's what's hitting my nose first. But then I get hit with like this savory, like earthy tones of the mushrooms. And then I'm getting like some aftertaste of like almost like a chicken brothy, like, or vegetable broth, like a very brothy feel. That might just be because it's black and they don't have any like body to really remediate all of like, just like, it doesn't have a lot of body to it is what I'm trying to say. So I don't think I would drink it like this, or at a minimum I'm gonna have to get used to it, because it feels like the flavors are really clashing, like it doesn't know what it wants to be. like someone was trying to have like a superhero party and a couple people showed up as princesses instead, and just like people didn't understand the assignment. I don't know. It feels very conflicted, like the flowery and the earthy. I don't feel like it mixes well. I'm not gonna give up on it yet. Let's try these other recipes and see where we should go from here. So I drank about a quarter of it, so we're just gonna keep rolling with it. You can already see on the bottom is that sediment that everyone knows. If anyone's tried mud water, you know that you get this sediment on the bottom. And if that's really gonna gross you out, don't get it. If you love the flavor of mud water, you just gotta mix it. It's just, you keep a spoon in it, you keep your whisk nearby, and you just keep it suspended because there are elements in here that are not soluble, they're insoluble. So, okay, next recipe, I think we're just adding honey. Yes, we are just adding what says 1 tablespoon of honey. Kind of feels like a lot, a tablespoon, like I'm trying to make up for something here, I don't know. We're gonna go a little lighter on the honey. Maybe just like half a tablespoon. Give it just a little bit of lightness. All right, so we've just added the honey. Felt like a lot. You know, you can really plug and play here, whatever you want, but let's see what this adds and if it makes me like it any better. Wow, that actually changed a lot for me. It seems to have, like, the seesaw has gone back to being like a bit more sweet and a lot lighter. Obviously this is a lot of honey and not everyone's gonna like this much, but I would say it smooths things over and balances things out quite a bit, where I'm not as averse to it anymore. It still has some bitter bite from the mushrooms, which is like still a little bit weird to take in with the flowery taste, but I think that's what the honey is doing, is it's like kind of glossing over, smoothing over that bitterness. Much better. So now is the iced recipe. I will say I'm not a huge fan of iced coffee, and honestly, I don't think it's really something that I'm gonna wanna drink before I go to bed. So we're gonna try making it without the ice, and then I'll add the ice and see if that changes anything. But what you're gonna need for this, the first thing is some creamer. So you can get creamer from them. It's like a coconut oil and MCT oil mix. You can also use coconut milk. I'm just using some like regular milk creamer. Anything that is like a little bit fattier, I think they just want a little bit of depth here. They said about a tablespoon, so I'm just gonna drop in a little bit of this here. We're gonna blend that. Gives it a nice body to it. All right, then the actual recipe says to take a plant-based milk, so I've got some oat milk here, and to pour it over the ice, and then to pour your rest tea on top of that. I'm gonna try just without the ice, so I'm just gonna put my plant-based milk here. It says a splash of it, so really, whatever you're feeling. Again, gonna mix this up and see what this does. So again, we've got a tablespoon of the rest, tablespoon of honey is what the recipe says, creamer, plant-based milk, and then supposed to pour it on the ice. Let's try it before the ice. Okay, that's not bad. Honestly though, like, the flowers are still a little bit weird for me. The passion, I think it's passion flower is the culprit here. Not really feeling it, but you know, I don't want to give up on it yet. If I had given up on mud early, I do think I think I liked mud off the bat better. But I feel like I could get used to it. I would probably drink it like this without the creamer, just like with some oat milk and a little bit of honey. Yeah, let's see if it's good iced. So again, we got some sediment on the bottom. Make sure you always mix it up before you try it. But all right, gonna mix the ice in just to cool it off a little bit here. All right. Wow. To be honest, it just tastes like a milk tea now. When it's iced like this, I'm not getting a whole lot of depth of the flowers. That's interesting. Maybe when it's hot is when those really become aromatic. Because now I'm not really getting any of it. And I'm just getting like a really kind of spiced tea. Honestly, doesn't really taste like anything special. Yeah, those are all the recipes. So as it shakes out, if you get it in the subscription, frequency anywhere from once every 30 to 90 days. You're going to be paying about $1.30 per cup, which, you know, in comparison to a Starbucks is great, but if you're going to be trying to drink this every night, it's still going to add up. In the description is a link to go and try this out yourself if you're feeling intrigued and wanting to try it. I feel like this one might be a little bit more controversial. We'll see. I'm still not completely sold on it, but let me know in the comments below if you like it, and perhaps if we should try to make this ourselves, as we did with the mud water masala chai. Try not to break the bank and instead figure out how we can make this for a whole lot less by coming up with our own recipe. So anyways, always love to hear your comments and questions, and yeah, we'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.